Hi, I'm Nikki Woods, and in the entire year of 2015, I am committed to bringing you information, tools, knowledge, introducing you to experts who can help us on our paths, not only to better relationships and better financial, but also better businesses. A lot of us are either entrepreneurs, or we want to be entrepreneurs, or we are in parallel career situations, and I'm always looking not only to educate myself more on ways to make my money work for me instead of me working so hard for my money, but also mentally and spiritually to be in a better place to serve in the areas that I want to serve. And so I'm so excited that one of my first interviews of 2015 is with Lisa Stevens Bradley, who admits fully, and I think she'll tell us today, that she at one point in her life was living a lie. And she's an educator, she's a former college professor, but she had to acknowledge in 2006 that her own money truths may not have been where she wanted them to be. So she was living what I like to say is, one of those competing with the Joneses kind of lives where we want everything to look good, but inside it may be a little bit raggedy. So she went on Oprah. The experience changed her life. She actually was on Oprah 7 times. And out of that, she birthed not only a new life for herself and her family, but she birthed a business. And for 9 years, she has been committed to the mental health field, and she is the owner of a United Community, which is a mental health agency. So she talks a lot about not only money, but the mental and the spiritual aspect behind money and business, and how we can all live better lives. Lisa, how are you? I'm so excited.
Well, thank you. I'm excited as well, Nikki. Thank you for having me.
Good. So I want to talk about the mentality behind business and the mentality behind entrepreneurship and how mentally we have to be in a certain place to be successful. Can you talk a little bit about that for me?
Sure, absolutely. Speaking from experience, when you have all sorts of financial problems, we all want to be financially healthy and wealthy. Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of mindset changes, spiritual changes. That commitment is beyond just your words. It's a commitment that takes place on paper. It's a commitment that takes place in your spirit, in your heart, with your family, and all those people around you that really matter. And I myself was not, as you said, living in my money truth. I was living, you say keeping up with the Joneses, I now call it keeping up with the Kardashians, mentality. And you really have to have a strong mindset and spiritual mindset in order to decide to break free of any of your financial habits or changes, but to shift into an entrepreneurship mindset. Because we're often taught to do what we love to do and appreciate what we love to do, but that's only one part of it. Because once you shift into running your own business or living out your dream, there's lots of mental challenges that can come along with that. Some stress that can come along with it. The hardship on relationships that can come along with that. The developing something that you enjoy, but then learning how to monetize that. All of those things together can create such an imbalance in your life that you would be very surprised at how when one piece is out of sync, the whole puzzle can create a potential financial disaster for you, a mental disaster, and most definitely an emotional disaster. And what you love to do, you'll find that you almost hate doing it because of all the stress that can be surrounding it mentally.
It is, and I was reading a quote, and I wish I could remember the lady who said it, but she was saying as entrepreneurs, we work 80 hours a week to avoid working 40 hours for someone else. So let's just start by talking a little bit about where you were off with your money truth and what you see as a whole, where we go wrong when we talk about the mental part of our finances.
Okay, where I was with my money truth is, of course, I was living a lie. I was raised to believe if you go to college, you get educated, you have a good job, those are the keys to success. Mm-hmm. You're going to have all the options in the world that you want to do. And believing that, that's exactly what I did. I followed the path that many people had told me would create my success, both mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in every aspect of the word success. But what happened is, even though I did achieve those goals, no one had ever taught me what to do with that money once I did have that job. or no one had even taught me that I could possibly control my own amount of revenue that I make by doing something for myself. So it calls me to live. I call it a lie because I was not living a truth that I even knew about, though. That's kind of the tough part about it. And as I learned the truth about money, is you do have to plan, you do have to pay your bills, you have to know what you need in order to decide how you're going to get it and what you're going to get. Once I crossed over into understanding that, it was a difficult movement to shift from that what I had lived, what was my reality, into a new reality, and being honest with myself. Because at that point I had a certain image that I had already projected and portrayed to people that knew me, people that saw me every day as an educator. I had people looking at me, students and children who were wanting to emulate me, but the whole time, everything that people were either envying or wanted to be or admired and respected, those were qualities I didn't even have about myself and for myself because I was living in that lie. So, I had to move into my truth, and a part of that was what is it that I need to do to make money, and how can I be successful with making money and do the right things with my money? And I decided to, write, of course, a letter to Oprah. We ended up on the show, and it was very tough to not only face my truth, but to face it nationally. So I was being judged by people at that point. My fear was dealing with people that knew me, but that opened me up to be judged by people who didn't even know me. Right. So the thing that was helping me was also hurting me, which led to more stress, more mental, strength. I had to create a mental strength and resiliency to teach me how to get through all of that. And that was kind of my wake-up call. And I decided, this is for me. This is for my family. You talk about that 80 hours to be paid for 40 hours. Absolutely the truth. And again, if you don't find that balance as to how to do that, in the beginning, it caused my family to resent me because I was always gone. Whereas I thought I was out working hard to make money for my family and to do and provide for my family. Ultimately, they didn't appreciate the sacrifice that I was making because they needed me. They wanted me. So I had to go rethink, how do I create this? Which meant I had to think about business. What types of people do I need to surround myself with to help me balance this out? What types of things do I need to share with my family so that they can be an active part of helping me succeed with the business, but also so that they understand my goals. They're not just goals that I have in my mind, in my head, where I'm going or why I'm doing it. And that allowed me to have another kind of mental breakthrough because I had people involved with helping me carry that burden and that load, and also created a level of understanding with my family that, this is the schedule that we're going to work. This is the Lisa time. This is my business time. This is going to be my family time. And I had to become non-compromising with that on all levels for my own mental stability as well as the stability of my family. That was first and foremost, even over the money.
And I think that's interesting. I mean, I read somewhere in a book where, we make these decisions, like you said, that we think we're doing what's right for our family, but we never have the discussion with our family about what they feel is right for us. And, I was talking to my children. We went on a vacation together for the first time in probably like 5 years, where I wasn't working and calling it a vacation, or, we were all together. They weren't with my parents. And I did it not only because I was, at the brink of burnout, but I wanted to find out what they felt really about how our lives were going. And they were like, we don't get enough of you. We appreciate what you do. We understand that it's just you. I mean, I'm a single parent, so I am solely responsible. And so they're like, we get that, but at the same time, we want more of you. And I realized, on that vacation that, we're not making the memories that I made when I was growing up, that my parents helped create with me, because I am so busy. And it just seems like we keep saying, okay, eventually we'll get there and eventually we'll get there. But as you attain a certain amount, you have to put more into it as well. So you're right. It's about making those decisions. And I think you're right about setting clear boundaries. Like, okay, one Saturday a month, it's just us, or whatever it is for your family. about
Yes.
setting clear boundaries about how you're going to balance your career and your family life. I think that's really, really key.
Yes, and I feel like for me, where I had to relearn to make my goals was when I went into the business, I went into it to make money. I had to determine, how do I define success? And I defined success by making money. Unfortunately, you talked about in the past, you did different things with your family. Family time was something that we valued at an earlier age, but we're in a society now where it's, as you said, the more I get, the more I want. The more that's available, the more that I want it. We're in such a commercialized society, even with our children, wanting them to represent that stamp of success by what they wear, what schools they attend, what cars they drive, and definitely the Sweet 16 parties when they get there. But I had to reprogram what is success, because giving up or sacrificing my family, even though I may have had monetary success, in the end I found out was not my success.
Right.
So people have to determine when they go into it, what is your purpose in doing this? Because even though we love money and we do want to be financially free, that is not what we want to do, is sacrifice, I'm sure, our children, our spouses, whatever your family relationships may be, your partners in any way. So it was something that I had to go back and reprogram, because I wanted to be rich. I wanted to pay my bills. But I was unhealthy and poor mentally, spiritually, and in my relationships with my family. So whereas I attained one success, I had to go back and figure out how to get the other success back too. And it was a tough balance, but I have it now.
And that is awesome. And so you have you've created for yourself, and I want you to help all of us create this, but a self-care plan, because it really does eventually start with us. I mean, if as women and as mothers and as wives and partners, if we're not in a place of overflow, I guess, we don't have anything else to give. It's like we're giving, but I found that sometimes I'm giving from a place of resentment because I'm depleted.
Yes.
And so how do we develop a self-care plan for our families, for our own selves, that puts us in a place where we can give freely from a place of overflow?
Right, and I appreciate you asking that. And as you said, it's a self-care plan. You've got to take care of self first. What is it that you need in order to, give from the overflow? Because oftentimes we're not giving from the overflow. We're giving from the minimum, because we are already overwhelmed. We already haven't done enough. We're already up late checking emails, doing work, because we have tried to do the work, spend time with our children, do their homework, and then we say, well, we'll pick up our work at 11, 12, p.m., a.m. in the morning. So we're never working from a place in which we're full. Mm-hmm. So it's in my opinion, not the overflow. You have that when you are complete and what you're giving doesn't deplete you. And I had to sit down with my family and let them know I care about them, but a part of caring about them is also taking care of myself. So again, setting aside that self-time, what does Lisa need and what makes me feel good? Is it exercise? Is it just meditation? I love to read. So I always set aside 30 minutes every morning where I read something motivational or inspirational to help me get through my day, so that I have kind of a root or a core to go back to pull from mentally each day. But people have to decide on what that is for them, and what can you do for yourself, and get your family to understand it, because you're going to model that to your children. Take care of yourself first. So they should understand that once you share it. The next thing became, again, setting up a schedule. What days am I going to be with you? Where are my boundaries going to be professionally? I had to learn that everything wasn't a crisis and everything wasn't as important as I thought it was, just because it was my business. I also had to realize, again, what type of leaders do I have in place at my business that is requiring me to give more than anybody that I'm paying to work with me or for me. So that should not be the case either. And again, I had to rely on, in my case, I am married. I had to learn to rely on my husband and say, I'm not Superwoman. As much as I would like to take that title, I want to be in a partnership with you. So that means we share this responsibility equally. And I had to realize that it's not just my responsibility to carry the family. And in the case of a single parent, we want to teach our kids to help us carry the family as well, whether it's chores or responsibility in the home, because we are wanting to teach them accountability and responsibility for themselves and to be a contributor to the success and the sacrifices that we're making so that we can come back and give them that time that they want, and we can do these things together. I learned to set goals. Okay, if we want to go to Disney World in 3 months, these are the things that we're going to have to do together to make that happen. Right. So mom may have to put in 50 hours, but I need you to do this or do that to help support and make that happen. But self-care is so important in the sense of being clear and being okay with saying no. Too often we don't want to say no to our kids, to our friends, to the responsibilities. And we definitely don't want to say no to a monetary opportunity if somebody pays you to do something. Right. But you've got to put that on that scale. Am I giving up something in order to get $1? And what message am I giving myself, my body, and to my kids? So it's very important to have a plan for yourself, to take care of you, a plan for your family, and sit down and talk about it and revisit it. And too often we don't want to do that. We just want to keep going and keep going. Right. Sometimes you got to say, enough is enough. I need to stop.
Yeah, I did a short video at the beginning of the year. I think because one of my struggles really is saying no. And so I made this video that no is a complete sentence, because even sometimes when I would say no, I would feel so bad about it that I would spend more time explaining it when I could have just said yes and done whatever it is that I needed to do. I mean, it's well, maybe people in general, but I can really speak from a female point of view. But I think that we don't want people to not like us, and I think that's what the word no kind of has meant to us, that it's going to make us unpopular, or people are going to get mad, or they're going to think we don't believe in what they're trying to do. But I mean, it's such a powerful thing to be able to feel empowered in how you control your time and your energy and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So
absolutely, I agree that. I think when we don't say no, we have compromised our own self in that yes. And no one's going to look out for you better than you're going to look out for yourself. So
absolutely.
The more you say no, I think the more comfortable it becomes. And again, living in your money truth and your spiritual truth, I've learned to say to people, I can't do it. And, I'm sorry. And walk away and let it go. And it may hurt at that moment, but I walk away feeling like, yes.
I said no, yeah. So before I let you go, let's talk a little bit, because there are always, I think, challenges and struggles, and even the best laid plans don't always work in certain situations. So mentally and spiritually, how do you prepare yourself for the struggles and the challenges, especially in entrepreneurship and in the beginnings of building your business? Because it is tough.
It is very difficult in the beginning, because oftentimes we don't even make a profit in the beginning of our businesses. So that sacrifice alone can create a burden and a stress for you or your family or your expectations. Or we see other people succeed when they start businesses and we wonder why we can't. But I think the best way to deal with that is to accept that it's already going to happen. I think we lay out these plans and we have the mindset that we're going to achieve them, which is correct. You should. But nothing, it's the first time you're trying it, so you have to be okay with, I'm taking risks, I'm taking chances, I'm learning as I go, and not look at it as, a failure or something difficult or something that you didn't do, but what am I supposed to learn from this? How can I revise my plan from this point to fit that obstacle so that I don't encounter it again? And keep moving and recognize that, obstacles are not meant to stop you, they're meant to make you grow. And as soon as you have that mindset mentally that there's something I'm supposed to take from this, I think it makes it easier to recognize that your plan is just a template. It is not 100% bulletproof. Right. And as much as we want to plan, I'm a person of faith. We really aren't as in control as we think we are about the next few steps that take place in our life. And for me, that's where the meditation and the spiritual reading comes in, to remind me of that every day so that I can relinquish the control and recognize that I do have imperfections. I will make mistakes, that I'm not, I don't have the perfect plan, and there is no secret. I just have to try to have the best template, go for it, and be willing to revise it, look at it again, readjust at any moment on a dime, and it makes me resilient that much faster. It makes my success able to be continued.
Yeah.
And it just, I think it also sends a great message to my family because we do talk about those obstacles as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's awesome. I mean, I think two key things that you talked about that I've really learned, I think over the past year, is one that we just have to stop comparing ourselves to everybody else and what they're doing.
Yes.
You know, especially if, you know, even though I consider, you know, I own my own business and all of that, I mean, I'm still also full-time employed in a really demanding career. So it's like, you know, I look at other people who are fully entrepreneurs and maybe further ahead or doing things that, you know, I haven't even thought about doing yet. And I would compare myself and I would really feel inadequate as an entrepreneur. And I think that you're right. We really have to stop looking at somebody who may have been in business 10 years and you're 6 months in and we're like wondering why we haven't, you know, we really have to stop comparing our lives to others. And then the other thing is I think that we are fully prepared to go down with the ship. So we'll come up with like a plan or a business plan and it'll be written and, you know, something will happen that we may need to shift. We may need to shift in our business a little bit and what we thought we should have been doing or how we should have been doing it. But because we have this business plan, you know, we want to stick right to it and we will go down with the ship instead of just making a small change or making a small pivot. And continuing on maybe the path we should have been on instead of the one we're on. Yes.
I always hear people say, you know, it wasn't meant for me to do it or I thought I could. But the reality of it is, you know, keep navigating.
Yeah.
When I see a traffic wreck on the road, I don't just stop my trip. I find the obstacle or oftentimes the GPS will reroute me. And that's exactly the comparison that I make to life. And when you talk about comparing ourselves to people, we don't know their story. We don't know where they've been. We're only comparing what we see, what we know, what we perceive. But I'm sure if we were to actually sit down and talk with these people, there were some obstacles, there were some challenges, there were some redirection that actually led them to that point of the success that we so want to attain. And their success is not ours. It's not meant for us to have what they have. So we have to recognize that too, that we have our own gift and purpose. So what is it going to take for us to get there?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You can find Lisa on the internet at IamLisaBradley.com. She's all over social media. You can connect with her on her website and follow her there. I know you talk more about money truths and also the mentality behind entrepreneurship, and you just give a ton of information.